Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 27 of Hard Knock Cox. I'm Anthony, along with Chris and Leon. Marco's not here today. He had something wrong with his computer, and hopefully he can fix it in time for the next episode. But this is the podcast where we talk about our favorite basketball team, the Atlanta Hawks, and sometimes other things in the NBA too. It's been a very bumpy road for the Hawks as of late. Since we last recorded, the Hawks have lost 3 of their last 4 games and only won 2 of their last 8. They have managed to beat some really bad teams for the most part, but they have lost close games against mediocre teams or just get flat out beat against more competent ones. The Hawks are currently the 15th ranked offense and the 19th ranked defense, according to Cleaning the Glass. But the last 2 weeks show a pretty unique story. The Hawks have the 8th ranked offense, but the 26th ranked defense. If you go into the standings, the Hawks are currently the 8th seed, 1 game behind Orlando, who are the 7th seed. The Bulls are the 9th seed, and 1 game behind the Hawks. We have the tiebreaker, so because of that, we're above the Bulls. And the Heat are the 10th seed, and we're 1.5 games behind them. We also currently have the tiebreaker against the Heat, so we're basically going to be ahead of the Bulls and Heat right now. So what was once a pretty clear lead for the Hawks against teams like the Bulls and the Heat a few weeks ago has now become incredibly competitive because of the Hawks losing a bunch of games recently. So I am going to start with you, Leon. Do you think the Hawks could still be managed to keep the 7th or 8th seed at this rate because of how inconsistent the Hawks have been playing as of recently?
I think it is more than possible for them to fall to 9 or 10, but it is still most likely that they're in 7 or 8. Most likely 8 right now, I would say. Um, excuse me. They've got obviously 2 games against Orlando. Then they have their other 2 games against Philly and Boston. Obviously, we lost to Boston a couple weeks ago. I think they'll be looking for redemption, and they won't go into that game. I don't think they'll take that game as lightly as they would have if they had, taken care of business last time. So that's the thing. And I think they'll steal at least 1 game against the Magic. Whether that be losing the first game and Orlando having such a big enough lead on us to not have to play guys in the last game of the season, or you know the other way around where we that last game of the season against them actually matters, and in a one-off before the next one-off we beat them. Chris?
Uh, do we keep? Do we get the 7th seed? I don't think we get the 7th seed. It's tough just mathematically, especially because we do play the Magic twice, right? And all they have to do is kind of split it, I think, to keep it themselves. Um, so that's tough. We have to basically win out and beat the same team twice within like 3 games or so, which is just like really hard to do. Which is why I think we probably split it, right? It's gonna be hard for them to beat us twice. Um, yeah, and if we're talking about like the defense kind of sputtering, I mean it's kind of a tale of 2 teams for the Hawks, right? First half of the season we had like solid size up front. We were only slightly undersized, right? You had Dre, who's got good length, coming off the bench behind Zach and Jalen, but you also had Clint, who was giving us, I guess, everything he had in the first half of the season this year. Because there were some stretches where Clint was solid, and obviously, in terms of blocks, I think he put up a solid number this year. When he can move, the rim deterrence was still there. So our defense was kind of solid that first half of the season. Now we can shoot, we can't really score because we're small and playing a lot of guards. Just because of where Quinn feels the forwards are, I think, right now. So we're going small, and they're shooting, especially last game. They had 23s, 22 team records. So yeah, we can get them up right now. We just can't really stop anybody. So that's likely why we're a little up and down. Hopefully, yeah, we can outshoot some of these guys. It'll be awesome to get 7, but I think that's just tough. And we put ourselves in a tough position. we've got to make up a game on the Magic. So you basically have to sweep them.
I'm looking at like their schedules right now, right? And it's funny to just look at everything because Miami, us, and Chicago just so happen to have some of the easiest schedules in the league when you just look at it as the season wraps up, right? And Miami and Chicago actually even play each other as the season ends. So I'm just wondering that it may even be possible that by the season, by the time the season ends, excuse me, um, they could even possibly even leapfrog to 8 if they even play well enough because of how easy their schedules is. Like Miami plays the Wizards, the Pelicans, the Bulls. The Bulls play Washington, the 76ers, and like I said, Miami, but they play the Cavs. So, again, so it's gonna be weird. It's just really Orlando, it's just they play us twice. They play the Celtics, who are probably gonna be resting players, and the Pacers, who are also probably gonna be resting players. So it's like for the Hawks perspective, it's literally just gonna be this Orlando game that's probably just going to determine if they're just either going to be the 7th or AFC 7th or 8th tier, or just going to be like, or not their 10th seed. Because their Miami's and the Bulls schedule just seems significantly easier at this point than the Hawks schedule right now to me.
Yeah, I mean, right now, but you never know what's going to happen in the
Yeah.
NBA. But I think the fact that the Bulls and the Heat both play each other, so that's a guaranteed loss for one of them. Similar for us in the Magic. So I think some of like that kind of works itself out. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting finish. The NBA did well with the scheduling. I mean, obviously this was on purpose. So
yeah, it was totally on purpose. Like, I am really interested to see how this goes because honestly, I really did not expect it to get like this close again. But the Hawks sometimes have this way of just getting things a little too close for comfort sometimes, as we've seen like during these past few years. So, but I do want. Oh, go ahead, Leon. My bad.
I mean, I think you're right. I think Philly's kind of not Philly, but the Pacers are kind of stuck at 4. I think the Knicks are kind of stuck at 3, and so they probably don't have too much to play for. So I think you're right. And Boston's pretty much stuck at 2. So the top 4 is kind of set as far as the East is concerned. So you would expect them to start resting players, but it's Tibbs.
yeah, I was gonna
also, the Celtics can rest 2 guys and still beat them.
Yeah, that's fair. They're that good. So
Peyton
that's true.
40.
Yeah, like that could very easily happen, especially since Orlando just can't shoot. The Celtics, even at half strength, can they can beat them. So that's just a thing to think about.
Yeah.
I think I'm not really worried too much about what the Heat and the Bulls are doing. I'm worried about the Hawks taking care of business. Just at the end of the day, it's really just take care of the Philly and the Nets games, and see what you can do against the Magic.
Yep.
Hopefully, worst try to go 2-2 and maybe go 3-1.
Yeah. But I do want to talk a bit about how I mentioned earlier in the intro about how we went 2-6 during our last 8 games. And one of the main reasons for that is because our defense has not really been that good. We have the 26th ranked defense. So I want to start with you, Chris. Why do you think the defense has just been not really been good during this stretch lately?
I mean, yeah, I kind of touched on it earlier. Like when we gave up Dre, we brought back a couple smaller guys. We are running man right now. We don't have Jalen at the 4, and Mo Gay is essentially their only semi-rim protector, and he's just not a very physical guy. Hawks have struggled handling physicality and big drivers last few weeks, and it's just kind of come to a head, really. Also, crazy, just bad shooting luck. I think for some reason the Hawks are just right in the middle of the pack in terms of open threes allowed, but people are just splashing those. So the bad luck there in terms of defending the three. But yeah, a lot of it is just not having the size to handle a lot of the physicality they're facing. It's a matchup league, right? You can match up good with a team that's better than you but small, and then get pounded by somebody that's worse than you and just huge because you didn't hit your threes that night, right? I mean, you got to outshoot a team that's bigger than you. You're not going to get to the rim. So uh, there's ways to navigate that. But if your jump shot's not there, I mean, you're vulnerable, right? So that's the thing with size in the NBA and just the way things match up. So, yeah, I think it's just been kind of a bit of a tough stretch for the Hawks facing some teams that were just bigger than them. Quinn might have been able to try a few things. I know the fans were very adamant about it, but yeah, the guards and the passing beat at the 3-4. I don't even know what you want to call it. It hasn't been great for their defense. So yeah, they've been struggling there. It's a Jalen problem, in my opinion, but also just not being able to kind of figure out that backup four position, which was an issue last year. We had talked about that some in spaces, but yeah, it's really became a big problem when Jalen went down this year, and you got exposed for not having another guy at the four that you really trust, honestly, defensively.
Yeah, that's true. Because as you mentioned, like Jalen was just a huge defensive presence on this team, honestly, and just missing him for like this much throughout the season is just it's damaging, right? You miss his rebounding, you miss his rim protection. It's you just can't replace that. Like there's a reason why it was like plus 12 on and off.
I mean, there was a stretch where I think he was like the only guy in the league that was doing like 18, 10, 5, 1.5, and 1.5. Like he's a very productive player, and all those rebounds is huge for ending defensive possessions, especially for a team that's small. So just being able to hold teams to one shot is very important in basketball. Leon's talked about like how bad we can be when we give up multiple shots in a possession. So yeah, Jalen is huge for that. And Clint was still a valuable member of the team, even if his legs weren't always there. As an organizer, he was important for them. The experience and just not having a guy that knows where to be. You can see it's a little bit disorganized at times with the younger guys. So yeah, they're missing some experience and some size.
Yeah, the defense was never great.
Mm-hmm.
It was just good.
Good enough.
Yeah, early
half.
in the season. Yeah, barely. Yeah, it was just slid in there. And now you're constantly throwing out lineups where 4 out of 5, sometimes 5 out of 5 players lack positional size. So you're going to get out rebounded. You're going to get finished over at the rim. You're going to get finished through at the rim. And it's just easier for teams to make shots of all kinds when you're as small as the available roster currently is. And a lot of people want to see more Mo-G, and that's cool. But for better or for worse, Quinn is a coach that's always, to some degree, going to lead offense. So,
and you know, I'm gonna say I think he for this right now, like he shouldn't really be trying to do that, honestly, especially with how limited we are right now. I think he needs to just try and just lean into as much size as we can, simply because the guys that we have are just not really that good on defense. Like players like Veet, I think, especially after he came back from that back injury, I think it's obvious that it's been affecting him a lot. And
well, I mean,
go
he's
ahead.
not the Veet's biggest issue defensively is he's slight.
Yeah.
Right? He's decent height, decent wingspan. But when you're going to, and it keeps going back to the no Jalen and no real reliable Jalen backup issue. It's the same. It's part of the reason why his on-off net rating was so great is because when you take Jalen off the 4 is either when we were fully healthy, the 4 because Moji was exclusively in College Park during this time was either a 19-year-old Zachary Richey, super tall but slight, or DeAndre Hunter, who we know is not the best rebounder in the world. Much to the chagrin of some people who like certain stats that you can find on certain websites. And at the 4, he's just it's not great defensively with DeAndre Hunter at the 4. So you don't really have anybody on the roster who can, at that time, who could duplicate pretty much any of what Jalen can do at the 4, right? Whether that be the weak side rim protection, the solid to very good to elite defensive rebounding for a 4 to the pushing in transition and all that stuff. But without him, and as Chris said, trading Dre away, now you've got George Niang playing 25 minutes a night at the 4. And in most of those minutes, and almost all of those minutes, you don't have positional size at the 3 unless Zach's out there with him. You don't have positional size at the 2 unless Dyson's out there with him. And then everybody else is small. So the only players with positional size on the roster, on the available roster right now, are Zachary Richey, who's slight, Moji, who's slight, and Dyson Daniels, who's like barely big for a 2.
Yeah.
So teams, and I don't care what anybody tells you. Like at every level of basketball, when guys are in the lane and they know that there's big guys around, they finish worse. Whether the big guy is there or not, they finish worse because in the back of their mind, they know there's a chance that there's somebody around here.
Yeah, they're thinking about
that
it.
might block my shot. Cade Cunningham is not scared of Onyeka Okongwu. They're the same height.
Nah, yeah. He's going for a poster.
Yes, every time. I don't blame him. So, it's an issue that I think they will address moving forward. I think, like we've said, as far as, team building is such an interesting concept, but you've got what you think are, I believe that the Hawks think they have their starting 5 somewhat locked in unless a star becomes available. So this summer is about either acquiring that star or getting that bench to a contending level. I think that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I think you got to get to the point where like you can kind of keep doing what you're trying to do when the bench comes in. It doesn't like
exactly
completely different.
Go to shite.
Yeah. Because I mean, one of the main reasons why the Hawks have just kind of collapsed during these last few weeks is because Niang, Karras, man, like the first 2 weeks we got them, they were like just really good, and then they've just been like up and down. Like
it's the book,
they're
man.
role players.
Like
I mean, yeah, they're just that's true. Yeah,
it's the book. Like NBA teams are not gonna let you get away with what we were getting away with for those 2 weeks.
That's true.
For more than 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like
George Niang came over and scored 3 of like his 20 career 20-point games.
Yeah.
And then teams were like, okay, we're going to punish that. We have to punish that.
Yeah.
Like these are NBA teams, So, it is what it is. Like you say, like we're playing much better on offense. What you say, top 8 last 2 weeks. That's not surprising considering the roster that we are playing night in and night out. I think a lot of people like what they saw in the Jazz game, where you saw Moji play the backup 5. That was a team where you can do that against them. It'll be different against Orlando, who's huge everywhere. Pause. And it'll be interesting to get the other teams who play too in Philly and in Brooklyn. It doesn't seem like they're quitting too bad. Philly gave the Heat a run for their money tonight, and Jordy's gonna have the Nets trying to win every game.
I
So
was gonna say Brooklyn beat us not too long ago.
yeah, well, I think we didn't
But
take them seriously.
Ant did kind of cherry pick the recent record because aren't we 5-5 in the last 10? So there's been some ups, there's
Yeah.
been some downs.
I mean, yeah,
so
we've been
peaks
5-5,
and
but
valleys.
it's like, yes, you're right. I did cherry pick it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's
because we had 3 in a row at the beginning of that stretch, and then
and then it's just we got back. Yeah,
it happens. Basketball is a game of runs, and in a way, the season is all about streaks, right? Sometimes,
Yeah.
you want to, you obviously you want to win all 82, but you don't want to have losing streaks. You want to win 3, lose 1, win 5, lose 1. You don't want to lose 5, win 1. Like so.
Yeah. You want way more highs than lows, right?
Obviously.
And I talked about. I mean, it's the saying I try to work in as much as I can, but it's a hard way to make your money by hitting jump shots, right? And it kind of reflects on our record that we get hot and we win a few games. You get cold, you're gonna lose a few games, and when you do lose, Jalen and what Clint used to provide in terms of the consistent rim running, easy baskets, we lost a lot of easy baskets from our offense, and we don't have the type of bodies to make up for that. Onyeka's doing his best, but he's about all that got down there, man. He's like that exhausted Popeyes employee right now.
Shout out at Tone Gully on Twitter. Shout out to the We Talk Hawks crew. He asked today, why don't we have this physical team mindset that another team has, right? And it's like, well, we don't have the physical players. You have the only players on the healthy roster who I would describe as physical for their position or their archetype is Dyson and Jalen.
Yeah.
Zach tries to be physical, doesn't have the frame yet. It's fine. I'm not gonna lie, he puts himself out there. He will try to absorb. He will attempt to apply the chest bump, and he really does try. He really does try.
He's trying to deliver the chest blow for sure.
He just doesn't have the chest yet.
He doesn't have the chest yet.
He doesn't have the chest yet. So, and then everybody else on the team, I'm not just talking starters. I'm talking about the team, right? The current roster, the physical for their position is those 2 guys. So you have to add some more size and physicality to this team. I think we've been talking on many a podcast how we would like to see the team add size and shooting. I think at the deadline they added shooting.
Yep.
Now I'd like to see you add more size.
Yeah.
For sure, because you lost size. I don't think Clint's ever going to play in a Hawks uniform again, personally. And so you're going to have to replace that in some way. And shooting. And I think another thing that's really hurting the defense is there's no like I said about for drivers, there's no fear factor. Obviously, Dyson, right? But we've seen teams put 2 bigs on the floor and just screen. So I'm sorry that he can't navigate 5 screens every possession. NBA players are good. I'm sorry. NBA players are good at NBA centers and power forwards are good at
right? They're going to force these switches on them at some point.
And here's the thing about screens, right? The base idea of a screen is to help the ball handler create separation from the defender, but in a vacuum. But teams are screening Dyson it's not really the same. They're trying to keep him as far away from the ball handler as possible. They don't they don't want him.
The screens aren't really part of the play. The screens are so they can initiate their play.
So they can get to the play.
Get this dude off of me so that we can actually run. We're trying to run behind it.
Yeah, and I think it's The available roster simply cannot execute what we needed to execute. And I think offensively, on the other hand, like you said, it's hard to make money in this league if you're just a jump shooting team, right? And sometimes it just comes down to variance when you're a jump shooting team because we saw the Kings beat the Cavs. Go Kings! We saw the Kings beat the Cavs because they hit more jump shots than them. Essentially, that's what happens sometimes. The other teams more jump shots, and they refused to go to their downhill drivers and their physical finishers at the rim because the Kings had just enough size to match them with Valanciunas and Sabonis and I can't believe I'm saying this, Trey Lyles. So,
I mean, size is relative.
Yeah, I mean, and we are like the tallest player we're playing is Moji against Light and Onyeka Okongwu, who's unfortunately he's attempting to
well, I mean, back in the day, they would have been playing Moji at the 3, bro. This dude is like 6'11", like 200 pounds. Like he would be a small forward for another couple years before moving into the front court.
Yeah, they don't have that. You can't put him on that juice. He's got to have smoothies, not juice, smoothies. And smoothies take a little bit more time than the juice does.
Well, do what you got to do at this point, honestly.
Yeah, man, we just don't you don't have that physical driver to go to when the threes aren't falling. The guy who's going to finish over and through guys at the rim, right? And ideally, you want more than one of those guys. And unfortunately, the one guy we have who does that is in a
out for a season. Yeah.
I'm like a lot like Skip Bayless will like use watching basketball as a credential. He's like, I watched more basketball since 1975 than any human being. But like, I watched a lot.
I've been watching the teams since. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares?
I was gonna say I've watched a lot of basketball in my day, and like one of the best ways to like when teams are like going on a run, or even when you feel a run going, like the best players will just like go get fouled. They're like, stop! Like you scored twice. Forget this. We're not getting a good shot. I'm just gonna go get fouled, right? Because I'm gonna just force my way to the rim and get fouled, and slow all this up so we can set our shit and everybody can get composed or whatever. Sorry, Spotify. And
it's almost like
we just don't really have like Trey.
You can get to a timeout without taking a timeout.
Yeah. And Trey kind of used to be able to do that when he would get continuation and stuff, but he's also not like big enough to always just force that bump and that contact and get the call. Like when you have that guy that can do that, like it helps a lot. And Jalen was like, he has the tools to be that guy, and he was kind of becoming that guy, at least in terms of getting downhill. It wasn't whenever he wanted, but when it was there, he took it. And especially in transition and stuff, and having that guy that can like just go force his way to the rim, man, and force some contact and get something like from 2 feet away.
A high percentage shot at the rim.
Yeah, a high percentage shot. Yeah, it's very valuable and important.
And all shots at the rim are not created equal, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
I'm sorry. Karis LeVert, love you down. But a Karis reverse layup at the rim is not the same.
Man,
Jalen Johnson getting the
he has some like really fun drives, but it's like
man, he's so crafty, but it's $1 million move. Sometimes it's a hay penny finish, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's up and down. Just put it that way.
He's a fun player. I mean, I'm trying to think of like. Because when I try to like think of like how to build a team that wins, I think of like the old teams, right? And like your Livingston type off the bench, like I don't know that he's exactly that, but I think he can kind of give you a lot of that. That big guard that can like just kind of generate some offense. And I think he's kind of finding that role here for us. I think he's a little over leveraged. I don't know that he should be like part of the closing group. But he has been like his just ability to handle the ball and like drive it has helped a lot because we just don't have that. We didn't until recently. So
yeah, I mean we don't. He's a pro.
Mm-hmm.
He is like, and he's a guy who's scaled up before many times in his career.
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly.
Especially early in his career, and now obviously in a scale down role in Cleveland. He kind of in Atlanta he scales back a little bit, scales back up a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where when you're on the floor, especially if Trey's not on the floor, like you got to go get it, Garris. Like it's you, buddy. Like, and that's why you see a lot of him driving to the lane. Is not there. I dribble out, get to the elbow, dribble to from the left elbow to the right elbow, and I throw up what looks like a not great shot. That might have been the best shot you were gonna get.
And I think people underestimate the skill level it takes for him to be able to handle the ball the way he does, and not just like get pressed to shit like right off of it immediately. Because I think they think all like a lot of the other players could just do that, like give Zach the ball and he could like just figure it out like that.
Absolutely not.
But
Absolutely not.
It's not like what Karras does. Like his handle is legit, man. He's like,
I mean, it's Karis LeVert. Like I don't know if y'all remember, but like Karis LeVert used to get buckets. Like he, you know, here's what I'll say. You don't just walk into averaging 20 points a game in a season. Karis LeVert has done it before. Okay, like you said, like we talked about, it's the book, right? You might be a guy who averages 20 points in the first 2 weeks of the season, but guess what? The book comes out, and now you're not going to be able to get to everything that you want to get to. So to average 20 points in an NBA season is very hard as a guard, especially when you're a ball handling one. Balls.
And when you're not like on the best teams all the time, or if you're not like the main target, right? It's
yeah. And he's been the main target. Like that's the thing. He's been the main target, and he's been the secondary guy, and he's been the third guy, and like he's been. Like talk about a guy who's been all over the East, like Brooklyn, Indiana, Cleveland, Atlanta now. So he's played a lot of basketball, right? And that experience matters, man. He's some of these guys, like Zach seeing. Like, who are we playing soon? KCP. Zach seeing KCP for, like, the second or third time in his career. Karras has played against KCP, like, 20 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they know each other. Like, you know what I mean? It's different. So, shout out to Karras. Would love to have him back for the right price.
For the right price.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk a bit about this Orlando game, like since as we're recording this, it's should I say tomorrow? I mean it's 12/19. I get
Wednesday
tomorrow
or Tuesday. It's on Tuesday, April 8th.
Well, they're not watching it like right now anyway.
Yeah, Tuesday. So tonight, the Orlando game is going to be the first Orlando. Yeah, thank you. Is going to be played, and I just want to know, and I'll start with you, Leon. What's your expectations, or what do you think the Hawks' strategy should be for playing against Orlando this time? We currently have a split against them so far, and like I mentioned before, this is pretty obviously one of their most important games of the season so far.
Get those stray balls up. Don't send Paolo to the line 20 times. And drive and kick, baby. That's all you can do. Drive and kick. Because they are going to attempt to slow the game down. They are going to attempt to beat us up, as they have done in the past, and they try to do to every team they play. So, they know how important the game is. So they're on 3 days rest. They've been at home for 2 or 3 days.
Yep.
They're going to be ready. So you just got to go out there and try to match their physicality from the jump. Don't look at the refs to help you out. They're probably not going to. Later in the season, the refs have the mental block too, where they're like, all right, we got to get ready for the playoffs. It's time to start. The refs know the importance of the game. They know it's funny. These Orlando games are almost kind of like a 3-game series. Kind of. Because we got one this week. We got one, when is it, Sunday? At home.
The one on Sunday might as well just be like a pre. Right. It's literally just like almost like a playing
probably
game.
Playing twice right before the play-in.
Yeah, it's literally
and
almost
we're going
a
to play
game.
them in the play-in. So it's
So
it's it's good. What is it? Away and home, and then we'll see, because if we beat them both times, we probably have the home game. So
Uh-huh.
just go in there, try to match the level of physicality to the best of your ability, and get those threes up because yeah, that's how you're gonna win.
Yeah, that's a team in Orlando that just
Yeah.
struggles to score, right? And I think if you force them to score, it's gonna be tough for them to stick with you. I think the thing in their favor is they do have Franz, who's gonna get downhill, right? To like the point we were just talking about, the guys that can drive. He's one of those. But yeah, if you can maybe force the ball into Paolo's hands, force him to shoot it. Um, we've had some chances to beat that team, even like not at full strength, just because it's tough for them to navigate a close game. And I think if we can just keep it close, right? And if they can protect the ball, I think that might be more important than anything, just to limit easy baskets for Orlando and just make them work for it. And I think if you do that, you have a chance to win one of those games. I don't know if it's going to be the one in Orlando. That's going to be tough, just because it's tough to beat teams on the road. But yeah, it is a kind of a fun 3-game series. I think both teams are. I don't think the teams like each other very much at this point. I think it's kind of it's going to become a little bit of a rivalry. I think teams are similar aged. They're both trying to do the same things. They're going to be battling out for the division for the next few years. You expect 2 number 1 picks on each team. So, yeah, it'll be fun. But that's a really physical team, and we have struggled with that recently. So, yeah, bombs away. You're going to have to fire for sure.
Yeah, like you guys said, they really, it's probably just their offense has to be just really good. You know, Orlando has been one of the best defensive teams in the league this entire year consistently. It was the same way last year. I'm gonna quote someone, Glenn Willis. He said this in one of his Orlando Magic matchup previews. The first team to score 110 wins. That's really basically the goal for the Hawks. They just, if they're able to just play consistently well on offense throughout the game, they should probably be able to win because the Orlando Magic's guard play isn't really that well. Isn't really that good. Paulo, he's a good player. His shot selection isn't that good. So I mean, I don't really trust him sometimes to like actually be able to rise up for that moment, I feel like. And then the only real player I'm honestly gonna be really worried about in the end is gonna be Franz, who I think is gonna be really scary. And I'm interested to see how the Hawks are gonna actually like defend him. Like, what do you guys think about that? Like, what do you guys think? Because was Franz healthy the last time we played the Magic, or was he out?
I believe both of them played the last time we played
Okay, yeah,
them.
because
Yeah,
they were, yeah,
Franz kind of
because
did whatever he wanted.
yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be a concern. I just because of the lack of size and stuff.
He's
So
a big boy, man. I mean,
yeah,
honestly, if you're like looking at the final form of like or hoping what Zach, especially there's a lot of hope that he develops as a shot creator. I think if he does, yeah, I mean, you want it to look a lot like what Franz is doing for that team. He's gonna have to get a lot stronger. Franz is real strong. That's a real big boy. I don't know if Zach like is gonna have that frame, but in terms of what he does on the ball, he's not like careless, but he's really good at getting downhill. I think that's definitely something Zach should try to channel.
yeah.
Yeah, most critics agree.
But for our last topic for today, we're gonna go out west and talk a bit about our 2 picks for this year. And we're gonna talk about the Kings pick and the Lakers pick. So for the Kings pick, the Kings recently won Detroit. Leon made a little reference to about that. And because of that, the Kings are currently the 9th seed in the West. We currently have the 14th pick because of that, and the Lakers are the 25th pick. They are the 3rd seed. For the standings in the West, a bunch of the teams in the top 6, they are all basically separated. Well, not all the teams in the top 6, excuse me. Basically, 3 through 6 are all separated by 1 game as of right now. So anything could literally happen for that Lakers pick. They could be as high as 25, or it could just go down a little lower to maybe 22, 23. And for the Kings, yep. And for the Kings pick, it's really the one I think Hawks fans want. The Kings have to make the play-in. And as I mentioned, the Kings are the 9th seed. And the main goal for them is they have to avoid the Suns trying to catch up with them. The Suns did lose recently. So what and if the Kings win their next game, they are pretty much going to be going to the play-in no matter what happens. And that means the Hawks will probably get that pick, barring NBA lottery luck from the Kings. So what do you guys think about the Kings pick generally speaking? And do you guys think it's going to convey this year, or do you think, considering the reputation the Kings have, we're going to have some bad luck on our side?
Boy, it would be catastrophic if we don't get that pick at this point. Like the fact that any combination of like one win, I think, for them and like a loss for the Suns, and we're Gucci, right? So
it's lit. They literally just have to win one game.
It would just
one
be
game.
so devastating.
And if they are better than us, they're probably just gonna get 14th and have the lowest odds to get number 1. So
yeah, it's just right there. Like I almost want to like just start banking on it and letting my hope like start to build and really lock in, because I was devastated a couple weeks ago when it looked like they were falling apart. But now we're right back in there, baby. And look, man, if we get this pick, I think that's really valuable for this team.
I'm not gonna lie. Like
I'm banking on it, baby. I'm banking on it. We got it.
As a Kings pick, denier, trader, or literally the past.
Denier, wow.
Yes, denier.
He's not the only one. Shout out to all of you who told us to trade the pick.
Like, you have no idea how badly.
That was me before the season, so
I literally wanted them to trade this pick so badly. Like, you have no idea. Like, especially the minute that Fox got traded, I'm just like, bro, if I don't see this pick off this Fanspo screen, I'm gonna scream. Like, like
when it happened.
Hey man,
when it happened, I saw the trade, and I said, "Oh, they got Zach LaVine. We good,
man."
Hold on, no, because I am not finished. In the last 3 games, Zach LaVine has had a 25 and 10 rebounds and 3 assist game against the Charlotte Hornets. He has had a 7 3 points made, 71% from the field game against the Cleveland. In Cleveland, they've been on the East Coast since like the end of March. They went from Orlando to Indiana to Washington to Charlotte to Cleveland. And he capped it off today in Detroit with a 43-point game. I told y'all, my Sacramento Bulls got me. Respect. We're good. I'm telling y'all, we're good. Like,
I can't deny the 9th seed king, Zach LaVine. Just
how dare you? You
like, can't. I can't. He brought home the pick. Like, he brought it home.
No, come on, bro.
LaVine and Trey, the kings of the play-in, baby. They gonna do what it takes to make the play-in. LaVine and Trey gonna be in the play-in, dog. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
You feel me? Because like I told you, like last year, we had a chance at a center who's on another team in our division. But Brandon Ingram just had to go in and take care of business in the play-in against the Kings. It happens, bro. It happens. You know, I had to do it. It had to happen for the agenda. But this year, man, they just got to make that play-in, baby. They're basically there. They're right there. They're right there, man.
I'm just happy. I'm just happy. I need
Philly to steal one of these folks, bro.
I mean, and they're not tanking, right? They're playing their guys 40 minutes. So I appreciate the Kings. Like, they ain't really worried about it.
They tried to with the roster they put out every night.
Well, true,
But
true. But also, I think they're gonna lose their I think Sabonis was not happy about what was going on.
He's
there.
leading.
Said that
He's
in the group
leaving.
chat. He said they're gonna have a talk
Yeah.
after the season. DeMar is definitely gone. I
Yeah.
don't know.
They're gonna
He's gonna
tank.
be in the lake. He's gonna be a Laker or a
Hey.
Clipper next year.
he chose to go to the Kings. He got what he
Over
deserved.
multiple choice. He had multiple teams that were interested.
Yeah.
He chose
A, B, C, and D.
Sacramento.
He chose that team.
I mean,
The
DeMar,
Sac.
He chose
DeMar's
to
gonna
light
be a
the
Clipper.
beam. Yeah.
It's gonna be a Clipper or Warrior.
Yikes.
I don't know.
Absolutely not. That doesn't. No, absolutely not.
I mean, I'm just saying random.
Absolutely not.
Warrior?
Mid-range Marauders might.
Definitely not a
Oh my
Warrior,
goodness.
but Laker. I can see him as a Laker.
Like, yeah.
Come
He
on.
could take Rui's job. They'll give it away instantly. Lakers don't care, dog. They just gonna put a name out there.
Gonna make DeMar play defense.
Figure it
I
out
think
later.
he's straight on that, bro. DeMar ain't playing no more defense, man.
Luka and DeMar,
These are just
that's gonna
retire.
sell tickets.
I mean, for sure. Oh yeah, like the city's gonna come out for DeMar. But Luka's gonna sell tickets. They don't need DeMar to sell tickets.
Yeah, Luka. The Crips have already adopted Luka. They're calling it Luka. He's one of theirs.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh. Yeah. All right. What were we talking about? Kings pick. Kings, baby. Like Kings,
We got
man. They doing what they're supposed to
ours.
do, bro. Hey,
Ours.
Sarah baby. Sarah baby on Twitter. If you're listening to this, just know, man. I told you. I told you. Respect the Sacramento Bulls, bro.
I mean, there was a logic. I mean, when it happened, I was like, there's a chance that Levine and DeMar are just mid enough, right? They've been mid enough to do this before, right? They're mid enough to do it again, and they just had to be mid. They didn't have to be good to hold it. You know what I'm saying? They just had to hold on.
I watched the Kings game tonight. Zach LaVine was cooking. He was cooking, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh man, I ain't never rooted for him like that in my life, bro.
He's trying to get
and then it was great to do it against the Pistons, who I can't stand, obviously.
You know what they might have some playoff kickers or something in their contracts. You know what I'm saying? You make the playoffs, you get $100K. Look, it's not.
They probably do.
That's yeah, that's good money.
He's motivated.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But
and you know, like I think like players like DeMar and Levine and Sabonis, like, you know, they're trying out for teams. You know,
Mm-hmm.
You know, they think the Kings. I mean, they could go full rebuild if they wanted to, and sell them off. So you know, they want to up their value, not just for themselves, but obviously, I mean, not for the Kings, but for themselves. So
yeah, I mean,
you know, players play to win.
Yeah, I mean, the small market like strategy, right? The OKC, they've been trading off vets for picks for years, and it makes it sustainable. So if that's like the route they want to go down, I mean, if you set some reasonable prices, you can kind of get it started. But if they go trying to price gouge, it's gonna be tough because Bulls couldn't trade.
The only of their big three guys, like no one's clamoring to get those guys, bro. You know what I mean? Like Sabonis, maybe. DeRozan, come on. Levine, top 10 worst contract in the NBA, despite how good he is.
It's not a good contract.
It's not a good contract.
It's not.
No Hawks fans, we do not want Zach LaVine.
Or Sabonis.
Nets might want him. If you could just get 2 picks off the Nets or just 1, I think that would be a dub.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Bad teams stay bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't believe we traded Kevin Hurd to the Kings for a first round pick.
You don't have to.
He's in Chicago now, by the way. Won that trade.
Listen.
Won that trade.
You don't have to mock me on this podcast.
Oh, I wasn't saying you, bro. My fault.
I mean, you didn't have to out yourself, man.
That was my fault.
You could have lived
in
anonymity.
My fault, gang.
Mocking one of the hosts on the podcast is crazy.
My gracious host, I would never.
Thank you.
Please.
I wouldn't have thought you were one of those people.
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't.
I mean, he was good though. He was a good player. I
didn't have to trade Kevin
No, they
but
didn't.
they
He was
had
with
to
college.
trade Kevin. You know what I mean?
He's the only one on a good deal. Well, he's the only one on a deal at the time, anyway.
Listen, I was
part of it,
mad
too.
because
It's part of it.
Kayvon, right?
if the pick if the pick never conveyed like it was going to,
It
probably
was
this
a
year
terrible trade.
it was gonna be terrible. And
I agree.
like it was just that the Justin Holiday and the Aaron Holiday stuff, it was just
Mo Harkless, respect him.
Hawks legend Mo Harkless, yes.
Tough times, man.
Yes, put his jersey in the rafters.
Yeah, okay.
And we made it through to the other side, man. That pick is finally vesting. We got Zach, we got Dyson. Double O is getting double doubles, and yeah.
And we could draft someone like
future's bright.
You can draft someone like Colin Murray Boyles or Joe Tugler.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Okay.
All right, let's wrap the show up.
Oh, okay. Sorry for drafting good players, but anyway, before we end the show, I do want to mention one thing.
You know,
go ahead.
Size and shooting. I'm gonna say it again: size and shooting, of which neither of those players vest either of those needs of the Atlanta Hawks.
That one's stuck.
We'll talk about later on one of our draft podcasts.
We sure will, buddy.
Yeah, we will. We will.
I'm gonna be so prepared.
Can't wait to start watching scouting videos, man. It's almost that time.
Yep. Let me mention one more fact that I probably should mention in the beginning of the podcast. The Hawks beat their last season total. So they won 37 games. They sadly will not be above 500. We were all wrong about that from last few weeks, but that's okay.
It won't be above 500, but they might make it there, ladies.
They may make it there. We'll see.
They might make it.
But they did beat their preseason total of 36 and a half games. So we're at 37. So, and we could win more.
They thought we could never do it, folks.
Exactly.
They thought we had no chance.
Anything is possible in the NBA. So
anything is possible.
You told me Dyson Daniels was a nobody.
5 points.
A throw-in, they said.
5
they
points.
said he was a throw-in. They said we traded DeJounte Murray for a guy who averaged 5 points a game. You darn Skippy.
And they said, who's going to average 20? Jalen Johnson. I told them.
20-10-5. Yes, sir.
He didn't make it through the season, but he got 20. Okay. That's all that matters.
Hold on here. Let's see here. Wow. Ugh. All right.
You round up here. Okay, this is America.
No. I was looking at something else. But last 20 games on Yeko Kongwu, 16, 11, 2.5, 1-1.
Interesting.
37% from three, 56% from the field. 80% from the free throw line. Hawks fans, whether you like it or not, that's your starting
game. You said
16 and 11, baby.
16 points a game for $16 million.
Just saying.
You hear that, NBA GM? Did you hear that?
Oh man, that's the sound of the police. Anyway, man.
But thank you all so much for listening to this podcast. We will see you all at the end of the season after the final Orlando game. That's the last regular season game of the season. We're gonna give our final regular season thoughts there. We hope to see you there with everyone here. Hopefully Marco can fix his computer in time. But peace out. Have a good one.